What's going on, guys? CGG Matt back. I think everyone's going to expect me to come in here red hot, steaming, yelling about the fake 83. It's not real. It's this, it's that. It was dumb. It was ridiculous that he even scored it. If you're expecting yelling and screaming, you've clicked on the wrong video. Go watch fucking Gil's Arena or whatever the hell. Go watch Rashad McCants yell about it. Don't come here. I'm not coming in here with that mentality of like, this was fake. This is ridiculous that Bam Adebayo could score that much. I'm not coming in here with that mentality. How I'm coming in here with it is, that was by far the most ridiculous fourth quarter I've ever seen in my life. I went back and watched it today. I'll admit, did not watch it live. I saw Bam had like 40 at halftime, and I was out with friends. And we actually joked and said, Bam has 41 at halftime. He's going for 80. Well, he did. It was supposed to be a joke. We weren't being serious that Bam was actually going to go for 80, but he literally did it. He went out and he scored it. He had a ton of free throws, and I feel like everyone was complaining about the free throws. I went back and, like I said, I went back and watched it, my own two eyes. He shot 40 free throws, and I think the vast majority of them were like legit fouls. Like, I don't think, maybe one or two ticky-tack, but like that's 4 free throws, not 40. They were fouling a lot. The Wizards tried their damnedest. I mean, they were putting, it looked like, guarding him on the inbound play looked like that famous picture of when the Saints had to guard Calvin Johnson on the goal line, and they put 2 people on him before the snap, pre-snap, put 2 people on him on the goal line. It felt like that. Trying to get the inbound pass to him to end the game, toward the end of the game, it was that. It was literally just 3 guys on him. We don't care if anybody else scores. Myron Gardner, have your 2 points. We don't care. Keyshawn Johnson, have your 2 points. We don't care. Just not Bam. And somehow he still did it. Like, even the last few free throws he shot were real fouls. He spins, gets bumped by a defender. Like, he spins, goes up into his natural shot, and a defender is standing in front of him. It's a blocking foul in the middle of the shot motion. It's a legit foul. I'm not going to be the guy that's coming in here and saying 40 free throws is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. A few things I will say, though, that aren't like necessarily in line with the positive mentality I've had so far. I will say a few things. The fourth quarter was absurd. Simply put, absurd. No other way to describe it. The dumbest quarter of basketball I've ever seen. I watched Devin Booker's 70-point game live. I did. I'm a Celtics fan. I watched it. I watched him kill Jay Crowder for 3 quarters. I watched Avery Bradley try and check him for 4 quarters, right? The Booker one is very similar in the sense where the fourth quarter got a little bit goofy, where it was like, we're going to keep him in despite being up 30 in a game that there's no business him being up. Look at the rest of the starters' minutes. If you want clarification as to why Bam did not need to play that deep into the game, look at the rest of the starters' minutes on that team. Like, nobody cracked 30 minutes except for Bam. But if he wants to play it out and go all the way to the end, I can't even be mad at that. The guy had his mother and his girlfriend in attendance. First of all, you have your mother and your girlfriend in attendance. Me personally, I'm probably trying to score 80 as well. I can't lie to you. So this is probably the best day. It was the best day for him to do it. Asia Wilson and his mom are probably not able to come to every single game, so this is probably the best time to do it against the Wizards, who are a very lowly team. But again, they have the ability to stop him, and they couldn't figure out how. And even when they did stop him, it was fouling. It was hacking. The part where it did get goofy in my mind, though, was them missing free throws intentionally. Keyshawn Johnson, like, chest passing a free throw at the rim to try and get him another shot opportunity or to just extend the game even more. The way that they were fouling intentionally to extend the game on defense, didn't really love that. Like I said, a bunch of stuff that I didn't really like about the back half of the fourth quarter. But what I will say is, like, I've been phrasing it like this all day. Because a lot of people have been asking me about it. Like, it's a legit 70, a fake 80 is kind of how I've been doing it. Because he had like 66 after the third quarter. Like, 70 was right on the doorstep. And even if you are up 20, you're probably going to stay in for the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. There's very rarely in the NBA do you see a game so out of hand where the whole starting lineup's out by the start of the fourth. Usually the starters, even up 20, even if they're up 20, 25, the starters will start the fourth and then come out with like 8 minutes left. That's what a majority of Miami's lineup did, just not Bam. But he had 60-something after 3. It's a legit 70 that he had. There's no funny business about his 70-point game. That's in the books. The 83 is, like I said, where it starts to get a little bit ridiculous with them chest passing free throws at the rim to try and get him more shot opportunities and everything like that. It got a little bit goofy, don't get me wrong, but it was still fun to watch nonetheless. He had like 40 at half. Like I said, he had 30 after one. It was ridiculous. And after one, he was actually killing Alex Sarr. Like, Alex Sarr didn't even have a bad game. You look at his box score, it's not bad, but he was getting fried. So, as was everyone, in all fairness. I think the part that adds to the absurdity about him scoring that 83 is the fact that if you told me before yesterday to lay out a list of players that I believe could score 70 plus in a game, let alone 80, let's just say 70 in a game, Bam might not be in the top 30. Like, I was listing out some names last night in my mind, and I'm thinking, who is more likely to drop, let's say 60, even lower than 80, and 70, let's say 60, most likely players to drop 60. Before yesterday, if I asked you Benedict Mathurin or Bam Adebayo, it's close. It's too close, right? If I asked you Bam Adebayo or Donovan Mitchell to score 80, who would do it first? I think all of you were going to say Donovan Mitchell. He's had 70s, an explosive jump shooter, can hit a bunch of threes and get hot. Bam only hit like 7 threes. I don't think Bam would make a list. If I did a conclusive list of like 40 names, I don't know if Bam would make that. I think there's bench scorers I would trust to drop 50 before Bam would. Again, let alone 30 more than 50. It was just an absurd game, an absurd performance, and I don't, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy or anything like that, because you know how impressive it is when Spurs and Celtics are going on Peacock, and that's like the big game of the night, the 2 seed in the West versus the 2 seed in the East. Huge game with a lot at stake, and to start the fourth quarter, you weren't watching Spurs Celtics if you were on Peacock. At the start of the fourth quarter, you were watching Bam Adebayo. They got a national TV game between the 2 seeds in both conferences, and they cut away from it to watch Bam Adebayo. That's how on fire he was. And that's, again, what adds to the absurdity of it. If I told you a week ago, the nationally televised game between the Spurs and the Celtics will get cut away at the start of the fourth quarter in like a 5-point game, 7, maybe 8, in a relatively close game. They're going to cut away from that game to watch Miami versus Washington. Yeah, you guys would be like, you're lying. You're lying, Matt. That's literally what happened. I'm still just in disbelief. I don't even know like what more to add to it. It was goofy. That's the plainest way I can talk about it. It was silly. It was absurd. I think I agree with what like Brian Keefe said, where it was like it was 3/4 of real basketball. The fourth was a little bit not basketball. But again, it was legit 70 by like not even halfway through the 30 had the 70. So that's a legit, to me, that's a legit 70. Fake 80, legit 70. 100% one of those answers that I'm going to forget on a Sporkle quiz in about 5 years, and I'm going to be really mad about it. Sorry to cut off the Bam Adebayo segment, but I feel like I'm good on that. I feel like I've cleared that because of the fact that 2 days ago, on what video was it? My video where I talked about playing teams. So that was the video on March 9th, I believe. Yep, my video on March 9th. If you want to go back and spin that one, I talked about Bam Adebayo at length about how I believe that Bam Adebayo was like the stabling pillar between the post-Wade Bosch era Heat, where it was like shitty teams with Goran Dragic and Justice Winslow. He's the connector. He's the connector between the Hassan Whiteside, Tyler Johnson, horrible teams, to the Jimmy Butler era, and now beyond the Jimmy Butler era and whatever you want to call this time in Miami Heat history. I did it because he scored 10,000 points, and that's very impressive in and of itself. And I didn't think he'd be closer to 1,100 just like that, but I guess here we are. Overall, like I said, that's what I'm labeling it, is a legit 70, a fake 80. That's what I'm calling it. The free throw number is what a lot of people are dwelling on. Go watch the fucking game is all I can say to you. I'd say a vast majority. I'm clearing the 90% area. 93, 95% of fouls were rightly called. That you just got to remember, the Wizards are not a good team, and their defense is normally terrible. Alex Sarr is like banked on to be that guy. He couldn't hold Bam yesterday. So against the suspect defense with a bunch of young players, they were fouling a ton. They're very young. Dude, he did a spin move and landed in fucking Will Riley's lap. Like, these are players that, like, I'm like, they're NBA players, but are they good defenders? Not really. They're a young team with not a lot of discipline. They foul a ton. Modest Buzelis in the third quarter yesterday had one of the smoothest Euro step moves I've seen in a while. I think it was on Pods. I think it was on a fast break, and Pods was the one-man back, and he does one of the smoothest, like I said, just a silky smooth Euro step right past him. He had a floater off, I think he might have had 2 floaters off glass. Modest Buzelis played terrific. He had 41, and he shot 5 of 15 from 3. Not ideal, but 41 points. And that was a really well-played game. Even late in that game, like, he had, what, 5 or 6 in overtime alone? That's pretty damn good. How did he do a lot of it? Slashing, getting to the basket. He had a couple of cuts to the basket that wound up getting him free dunks. Actually, like 3 or 4. He had a couple of free dunks. But in the first quarter, he even had a couple of movements where I was like, okay, Modest. There was one where he went up for a layup on Porzingis, went right into KP's chest, and laid it in right over the top of him. Kristaps Porzingis, one of the best rim protectors in basketball. He put his shoulder right into him and finished through contact. I love Modest Buzelis. He was a most improved guy that I thought could win the award coming into the season. Hasn't had the season that I've wanted. Hasn't really had. He's been good. It's not a bad season. It's not even a step backwards. It is a step forwards, but it's just not the leap forward that I wanted. It's a step forward. He also had thunderous dunks because that's what Modest Buzelis does. He gets up, he hammers the ball. I love Modest Buzelis. I think he's such a talented player, and it's clear there's something more there. You have games like this, albeit, again, I know the Warriors aren't the best team in the world, but they're still an alright defense for the most part, and especially with Porzingis back, you have a rim protector against a guy who shot 5 of 15 from 3. I mean, he made 5 threes, had 40. That's a lot of dunks and layups. A lot of it, like I said, was slashing, cutting at the right time, finishing through contact at the rim. So many moves that could have been and ones, in my opinion, that just weren't called. I'm a big Modest Buzelis guy, and I hold a ton of Modest Buzelis cards in my possession. I collect. He's in my PC. Modest Buzelis in my personal collection. Both of the Jays are in my personal collection, Tatum and Brown. I got a couple, and Modest is one of them. So seeing him score 40 definitely makes me happy. Of course, it's March. March hoops definitely get a little bit wonky. We're in that era of year where like a Kevin Knox or a Josh Jackson would give you a big game. We're not quite at the Malachi Flynn levels of that deep into the season, but we're close. And so you're going to get some wonky games here and there from some guys that you wouldn't expect to. Modest Buzelis had 40. It was a good 40, no less. Like a really good quality, finishing at the basket so well. I don't think I saw him take a single mid-range shot in all of that. Dunk, layup, 3. Perfect shot selection for me. There was so many times, too, in that game where he just slipped the screen. Like, he went up to go screen and then just slipped it, cut right to the hoop, and got free 2 points. It happened a ton. And I was watching just because I wanted to, just because I don't like the team, I intentionally listened to the Warriors broadcast for every time Modest scored. And by the end of the game, boy, they were unbelievable. They were, jaws on the table. For the Warriors, they're now 1-5 in their last 6 games. Again, a Warriors fan got on my ass the other day because I said the Warriors weren't a fun team to watch. Again, 1-5 in their last 6 games. They've gone under 500, I believe, and the Warriors are not playing good ball. Just outright not playing good ball. And without Steph Curry, it's looking like their season's going this way. That makes sense to me because they've been Steph Curry reliant for the past 5 years now. I'd say 5 years, realistically, it's been closer to 10, but they had Kevin Durant for some buffer years. So for the last 5 years, they've been overly reliant on him. Porzingis is still not right, visibly not right. I know a lot of it's conditioning. Because long COVID, whatever he has, whatever, I don't even want to get into that topic anymore. Whatever Kristaps Porzingis has, I'm gonna dance around that one. The Warriors just still don't look right, and Kristaps Porzingis conditioning isn't great. and it's leading to him looking gassed after like 3 trips down the floor. This is the exact thing Celtics fans were seeing in the playoffs last year. This is a Warriors fan's biggest nightmare because he can't stay on the floor for that long. But it was fun to see Modest Buzelis, Bam Adebayo both drop career highs on the same night. Pretty interesting. One was half of the other, basically, too. Also pretty interesting. I'm just really happy to see Modest Buzelis strive because, again, that's a guy that I'm heavily invested in, a guy that I'm a big fan of, and a guy that's had an underwhelming but still decent year that just doesn't get talked about because the Bulls are absolutely pitiful. In other NBA news, that Spurs vs. Celtics game I alluded to before, Jaylen Brown got kicked out after 15 minutes after arguing with the ref about a push in the back. I mean, he got pushed in the back. Did you call a spade a spade? He got pushed in the back. Should he have argued like that with Tyler Ford? No. Should he have been thrown out by the crew chief instead of just a fucking handy helper? Yeah, absolutely. But what I won't say is like that the Spurs aren't a better team. The Spurs are clearly a better team. They have a guy who can just negate everything in the paint. That automatically makes them a better team than the Celtics right now, especially when the Celtics were down Peyton Pritchard yesterday and then Jaylen Brown gets thrown out. When the no Tatum minutes to start the fourth quarter, because Tatum's still on that minutes restriction, and the no Tatum minutes at the end of the third, start of the fourth, it started to really get away from them a little bit. And then by the time Tatum came back in, it felt like it had snowballed, and it just kind of didn't work out. They cut it to 3 at one point, but ultimately it didn't really matter because, yeah, they didn't have enough scoring outlets. They just didn't. Derek White had a terrific game, but once the defense starts to key in on White and Tatum, nobody else could really make their own shot. Sam Hauser was taking pull-up mid-ranges yesterday. Sam Hauser. The Celtics still played a respectable game, albeit with Jaylen Brown getting tossed and Tatum being on a minutes restriction and no Peyton Pritchard. I would have liked to see that game play out with Jaylen Brown there, but I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want to play yesterday. One of those things where it's like, maybe he just didn't want to play, you know? He didn't want to show up to work, so he went in, made a fit, got kicked out, got to chill in the locker room, and he got to tweet 30 seconds after getting thrown out. Like, not even 5 whole minutes after getting tossed, he's on Twitter. Either way, I think that was hilarious. The Raptors have looked rough recently. I haven't addressed them quite often, but they've had some really rough scoring games recently. They got kind of run out of the gym yesterday by KD and the Rockets. It was just another game where, like, Brandon Ingram's been quite awful over the last few games, quite terrible with his shooting. That's how you know it's getting to playoff time. Brandon Ingram stinks again. No, I don't like attacking him that much, but Brandon Ingram, the last few games has just been off and just not good. And he's their only half-court creator with Scotty. Like, their half-court offense can get real ugly, And against a team like the Rockets, they couldn't afford to get stuck in a half-court game, but they kept getting stuck in a half-court game because the Rockets have the ability to guard them. They have big wings that can guard a guy like Scotty Barnes. Maybe not to the same effect as some other guys, but they can guard a Scotty. They can guard a B.I. They have a Men Thompson. They can put a Men Thompson on B.I. It's over. Water's shut. They had to be able to get on the break and get easy points. They weren't able to do it. They didn't do it enough, to be honest with you. Houston has the ability to match their size, to more than match their size. I mean, just look at the rebounding battle. 30-52. 30-52. I had to pull it up just to make sure I had the right number. 30-52. No Jakob Poeltl yesterday really hurt them on the boards. Like I said, 30-52 on the glass. You're never going to win that game. No chance. Not unless you make like 18 threes. You know, they'd have to get insanely hot from 3 to really have a chance there. I really do like the way that Toronto has played this season, but over the last few games really hasn't been their best foot forward or what I want to see from them, especially as we get closer to playoff time. I know Yak didn't play yesterday, and that definitely is a big deal, but they've gone stretches without Yak this whole season. You know what I mean? They've gone stretches without Jakob Poeltl a majority of this season. They know how to play with or without him at this point. They didn't do bad without him. I'm not saying they're better without Jakob Poeltl. They're much better with him, but the thing is that I can't use no Jakob Poeltl as an excuse when in all reality they played a majority of the season without him because his back's been fucked up. Really, the last game I want to talk about that I didn't get to really watch was Blazers versus Hornets. I didn't get to watch a ton of it. I want to hear you guys talk about it down below. I want to hear you guys talk about that game specifically down below because I didn't get to watch much of it. If you enjoyed this video, you should like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for joining me. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. 83 points is silly, unreal, surreal, whatever you want to say. I'm going to go catch the game. See you guys in the next one.